it's Lena here and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be part of basically a mini series that I'm doing on my channel about Sephora, working at Sephora, being an employee for Sephora versus being an employee for Ulta, Macy's, any other retailer. I've been working for Sephora for about 10 months, almost close to a year actually now. I am a color makeup artist at a store that is relatively new in New York, and my experience has been great thus far, but that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm here to tell you about the differences between working at a Sephora and working at an Ulta. The pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything in between, and basically you decide which one you ultimately want to work for. So if you're interested in this video, then please keep watching. Alright guys, so I took notes for this video, so if I'm looking down, then I'm just kind of reading off of what I have. So first and foremost, it was a little bit harder to get a job at a Sephora and versus at an Ulta. I feel like Sephora is barely ever looking to hire people, which I'll have a whole separate video of how to get hired and my interview process with Sephora. But I feel like with Ulta it was they got back to me relatively fast and everything was way easier as far as getting hired. Alright, so Sephora, there's a lot less tasking, especially for the position that I'm in. Like I said, I worked in the color world, and Sephora has their own ops team. So what the ops does is that they do shipment, they process shipment, they stock and everything like that. I mean, of course we help a little bit, we support. I mean, you know, Sephora is well-rounded and everybody kind of does everything, but for the most part the ops team takes care of all that stuff. Whereas in Ulta, like I said in my Why I Left Ulta for Sephora video, they do a lot of tasking, stocking. Every week we do shipment ourselves, so we're always in the back and we're always kind of focused on the items that we sell there, whereas Sephora is totally different. So at Sephora we're given, you know, the classic uniform. We actually have I think 2 uniforms to choose from, either pants or the long tunic that most Sephora employees are wearing and that you're used to. But at Ulta you wear all black. It's kind of a free range of things. They have a little bit of a restriction of what you can wear, but it's just mostly all black, and sometimes white or pink and orange sometimes in most cases too. But Sephora, it's you kind of don't really have to guess what you're wearing because it's gonna be the uniform. So in terms of a day at working at Sephora versus Ulta, they have a lot longer shifts, but they give you less days, at least at my store. In my position, I'm part-time, so it'll probably be different for full-time, I guess. But for what I'm used to, they give longer shifts, maybe 7-8 hours. The least I get on the most part, for the most part, is 6-hour shifts. But for Ulta, I would constantly work 4-hour shifts, 5-hour shifts, you know, short shifts, and more days though. So it'll stretch out in 5, 6, 7 days, whereas Sephora, you probably get 3 days, 4 days, depending on the volume of the store and the need. But the shifts will be a lot longer for the most part. So one really good thing about Ulta though is that even if you were part-time, full-time, whatever, if you got sick or if you called in sick, you would be getting paid for that day for the most part because you accumulate sick time hours. So that was really good. I totally missed that about Ulta. For Sephora, however, if you're part-time and you call out or you call in sick or you have a vacation or something like that, you don't get any time where you still get paid, you know. So that's kind of a downer for Sephora. However, Sephora has this thing where you can actually start taking money out of your check and saving it for your 401k. Now, I'm not an expert on stuff like that, you know, I got kind of a long way to go before then. Yeah, so basically they'll set aside a certain amount of money from your paycheck every month or every time you get your paycheck, if you so choose. If you opt out, then that's on you. But the good thing about that is that the company will top every amount that you leave for your 401k. So the amount from your paycheck, like I said, I don't know too much about the logistics of it, but I know that the company does top it, and that's good for, you know, when you're old and you retire. Okay, so as a Sephora employee who works in color, you will be doing makeovers all the time. So if that's something that you're not comfortable with, then that's a down for you. But I can say that it does make the shift go by quicker. but you do get crazier or all types of clients with all types of requests, or sometimes they have no idea what they want, so it could be super annoying. But like I said, if you like working with color, if you're comfortable working with makeup and doing people's faces and touching people's faces, then it shouldn't be an issue for you, and it'll make the time go by way faster. At Ulta, I was on the prestige side, and we basically never touched clients' faces or did makeovers or applied skincare products on them. We just give them a quick consultation. There was a little small period of time where we were allowed to do makeovers, but that got nipped in the bud quick. And only the salon got to do the makeovers at that point. But yeah, if that's something that you're into, then that's a plus. If not, then Ulta is for you. So a down about Sephora is that we are not allowed to accept tips for makeovers. At Ulta, I would be getting tips. They didn't care if you got tips, like you got tips. At Sephora, they aren't, no, they're not with the whole tip situation, but we do get bonuses. So the survey at the end of the services that you offer for them, if your client takes that survey, it gets calculated, and you know, whatever, blah blah, whatever, boop boop boop. At the end of the month, the entire store, if they perform really well for that month, they get a bonus, and the bonus depends on how well they perform. So that's always good, because it can look to about almost like an entire paycheck additional, you know, so it's really good on that aspect. But yeah, no tips, guys. Like no tips, that means no taxes on your paycheck, because the bonuses, they get taxed like 50% of the check, so that's kind of a downside too. So yeah, like I kind of missed the whole tip situation, but what can you say? All right, so as far as scheduling between Ulta and Sephora, Ulta, you only got to see your schedule. There was not no like app for it or anything, nothing you can look at on your phone. Basically, if you didn't work the day that the schedule was posted, and I think it like varies from each Ulta. I think I was just like a Thursday or Friday or like a Saturday, some inconvenient time like that. If you don't work, then you have to call the store or text a friend who works at a coworker or whatever and get the schedule that way. At Sephora, you have an app on your phone. You can see your schedule. It's posted like in a pretty reasonable amount of time. You can put in requests through the app, so it's super convenient in that aspect. Whereas Ulta, it was kind of like a hassle to like switch a shift or call off or request off, while you always have to like call them, call the store, communicate that way, and it was just a mess. So as far as the discount differences, Ulta has a 25% off employee discount and a 50% off of services for employees. So that was super good. And then Sephora, it's 20% off discount for employees and 40% off of Sephora collection. So that's the difference. I don't know like which one caters to you more. I know for me, I never use the salon, so that 50% off was like useless to me, but then the extra 25% off was really good. And then also, we all know that Ulta has a better rewards program than Sephora does, so it would be like the more you shop there, the more money off you got, basically. And then with Sephora, it's only 20% off, so you're missing that 5%, but then 40% off Sephora collection, and that includes brushes, it includes like the lip stains, everything, so that can also come in handy as well. Sephora employees get way better Gratis than Ulta employees, like hands down. I know some people who worked at Ulta and never seen a piece of Gratis in the day of their life. They have no idea what Gratis is. I think I was at a store that was pretty busy, had a lot of traffic, so a lot of the times brands did bless us with small size Gratis, and at a very infrequent circumstance. While as Sephora, I already know, I can see my bin, I can check on it frequently, like I know every month I'm going home with a bin full of Gratis, you know, and it's always full size, and it includes foundations. Ulta, I don't think I've ever gotten a foundation from Ulta. Sephora, I have so many foundations now because of Sephora. So the Gratis is a plus for me from Sephora. Sephora also throws contests and you also get a lot of gratis from contests as well. So the contests for me, they keep things interesting at work. Like you don't want to go to work and you're kind of like bored all the time. I feel like Sephora does a really good job with the contests, or just in general keeping the workplace very entertaining. Whether it be, you know, like parties in the back, lunch on them, contests, breakfast on them, like a lot of food involved, or even like you do this thing quarterly or semi-annually where you touch base with your managers, your direct manager, your in-store manager, and you kind of just like talk. Like it's just like a heart-to-heart about the workplace, of course. Like it doesn't get like too personal, but it's like a nice thing that they do where you just talk about stuff you like, stuff that you didn't like, stuff that you want to improve, like different worlds that you might want to get into. And I think that's super special, and I really feel like, okay, this is getting into the next one, but I feel like Sephora as a company, they care more about their employees, whereas Ulta, they didn't really like show it that much. Like I'm pretty sure Ulta cared about their employees. I'm not saying that they didn't, but they didn't really do those extra things that Sephora constantly does to show their employees like, hey, like if you want to move up in the world, we got you, or like in the company, we got you. Like they're interested, and I feel like I've never felt like I was just an employee at Sephora, you know? Like I felt like I was a part of the team, part of the family, and that's a plus about Sephora. With that being said though, Sephora has way more expectation as in regards to like their employees than Ulta does. Like to become a makeup artist at Sephora, you have to get certified, you have to go through an entire test, and let me tell you, like that test for me was kind of like intimidating, you know, and I think like that my coworkers would say the same. It's a process, you know. It's not like you can just put makeup on everybody, which is good, you know, because clients, I would hate to come in for a makeover and my makeup artist has no idea what they're doing at all, you know. Like it's just wasting the client's time and it's wasting your time essentially. So you got to go through a certification process, and the certification process is lengthy, can get intimidating. It's a lot, you know, and you get trained and this, that, and the third. But as far as like expectations across the board between companies, Sephora, their expectations can get to be not crazy, but a lot. Sephora also has more brand trainings, more support from brands, just more trainings in general. So you're really getting the product knowledge that you need to sell. I mean, Ulta, they had their times too where we got trained by like Clinique or Tarte, but it would never be extensive. It wouldn't be like, it would be pretty random too. Sephora, you can almost expect to be trained. They'll tell you all the time, like in the morning when you first clock in, who's coming, who's training, what's happening, you know. Like they're very, very communicative in that way, and I really appreciate and value that as a company, because I always want to be, you know, in the know. Whereas Ulta, it would kind of just be, you know, random. It would be communication, but not that much as far as like Sephora as a company, you know. So yeah guys, that is basically all that I can think of as far as like differences between Sephora like as a worker and Ulta as a worker. And this is specifically between the color side of Sephora and the prestige side of Ulta. If you don't really know the difference between that, I'll have a Sephora video coming up soon, and then I have my Ulta video that I'll link right there and also down below for you guys. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up for me. If you like these videos, please tell me, because I'll have like more to come, you know. I always want to keep you guys engaged in my life and in the know of Lena, you know. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.